Welcome back. You are watching The Crux, coming to you live from Channel Television Studios in Abuja, Nigeria. And we are discussing off-grid power and renewables. I'd like to try and involve members of the audience now in this conversation, starting perhaps with people who are already engaged in producing renewable power and feeding it off to the grid, or maybe even captive power. So please, if you want to talk, just raise your hand, say who you are, and make your comment or ask your question, but please make it quick, because we have very little time. Anybody? Yes, okay, we'll start from this end. Yes, sir?
I just want to make a point that Nigeria is at a...
Could you start by telling us who you are?
Yeah, hi, my name is
please?
Marcus Heel. I'm CEO of Pan-Africa Solar. I'm a utility scale developer, a project which is going very well, and we expect to start construction in July and start delivering nearly 100 megawatts to the grid in July 2018.
Using which energy source?
Using solar energy source in the northern Nigeria.
Okay.
And we're enthusiastic about that business, and we think that's going to be a successful. However, Nigeria is at the point now where Segun here, he's now saying that he can generate power at a price which is both at a price which is affordable, providing reliable power and a return of investment to the investors. I mean, that is three very, very important points. And that's an inflection point now, which has come about because technology now is at a much cheaper price. You mentioned in one of your earlier videos that it's 80% less than it was 10 years ago, and it's going down further. Battery prices are going down. So now Nigeria is at a point where you'll be able to leapfrog in the same way as you don't need to build an entire phone network.
But let me ask you, how come you're producing power and selling it, for example, to the grid? Is it viable for you to sort of do off-grid power or captive power?
We believe, look, there's 80 million people in Nigeria that don't have access to the grid. So yes, we will provide them to the grid, but there's 80 million unserved people in Nigeria. They need power too, and there's a solution now that this man is providing, which is a viable solution and is only improving. So over the next years, you will see in the same way that in the 1990s, very few people had mobile phones in Nigeria. And now suddenly everyone has a mobile phone in Nigeria. So there's an inflection point now where suddenly it's going to, I think you'll find now over the next years that there will be tens of thousands and then millions of people with these behind-the-meter systems where you don't need politics. You're outside of politics.
Okay.
You don't need that.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. There's a gentleman right at the back, please. And then we'll come back to the front again, yeah?
Thank you very much. My name is Imo Epu. I'm a Vice President of International Commission on Large Dams. And my contribution has to do with the fact that we can also do a lot from the aspect of the hydropower generation. One of the panelists made mention of it, and I'm also involved in it for the last 30 years.
So are you advocating big dams?
No, well, because of their interest in because you
know there are issues around land displacement and all of that.
That's why I want to emphasize on the small hydropower schemes, because in most of the rural areas they are so clustered together that a small hydropower scheme that is properly done, like we have in the Wire Dam in Bauchi and all that, who can help the agri sector, can help in developing the the power system in the community, can also help, like we mentioned, of the small-scale development and entrepreneurship. So it is very, very important that at this point, if Nigeria is looking at how to develop 40,000 megawatts by year 2030, we need to go headlong in looking at that other aspect of generation.
Thank you very much. There's a gentleman in front here with the tie, and then we'll go to the back again. Okay. We have to be really quick. I have literally 5 minutes to take maybe 2-3 more people.
Good evening. My name is Owa Raymond.
Please speak up.
My name is Owa Raymond. I represent Pre-Gem Concepts. What I have is some form of contribution. In my view, Mr. Segun and all your panelists, they've done exactly well. But I think special purpose vehicles should be created where a synergy is organized between the government and private entities, and nobody is working in silos. Because Engineer Adebisi said he's not here to argue. Yes, fine, we are not going to argue, but there are research and development institutions on energy that can really put energy into activity.
Okay, so I'm going to have to stop you there. The gentleman in front of him, very quickly, I literally have a minute. We'll go here, and then I'm afraid we may have to end it. Yeah.
Suleiman Yusuf, I'm going to speak from the perspective of a Nigerian who has lived totally off the grid for the past 2 years, just about a kilometer away from here, and also from the perspective of an entrepreneur.
You probably have only one perspective
in the renewable energy industry.
30 seconds.
Well, I think government is not paying enough attention to the practitioners in this industry. If you take away the equation of what practitioners are achieving on a daily basis from the situation today, it's going to be a different thing entirely. Just as a small company, I've installed a total capacity of over 1 megawatt in the past 18 months. Right. And I know there are several people who are doing the same.
One company doing 1 megawatt.
Oh, yeah, government needs to look very critically into those factors.
Quickly, one last person, and then that's it. I'm going to have to end it.
From NERC, and Dr. Anthony Aka, CEO. We at NEC have tried to create an enabling environment by regulations to allow small players and large players to play. We have created a regulatory simplicity for those who are doing small scale by giving them what we call light-handed regulations that allow them to generate and take less for licensing. So we have for small producers and for large producers different licensing conditions.
Okay, well, we've run out of time. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. Thank you to my panelists, to those who came here to sit with us, to the director from the Federal Ministry of Power, to Mr. Onyekpere, to Shegun, and also to Abila-Odunuwo. Thank you so much. I'd also like to thank the studio audience as well as my people at home. Now, unfortunately, we have to stop. There's still a lot of issues to be dealt with. So what we're going to do is tomorrow we will run a survey on the power sector. To take part, please go to my Facebook page or that of Enough is Enough Nigeria. We will share the findings of that survey with the public. Going forward, the Crux will now air every last Wednesday of the month. So join us for the next edition on Wednesday, the 22nd of February. On behalf of Channels Television, Enough is Enough, and Daria Media, I'm Kadria Ahmed, wishing you a very good evening.